industrial experience, rich industrial experience. He completed his MTech from IIT Roorkee. Uh, from IIT Roorkee, he has completed his MTech, and subsequently he acquired his doctoral degree, that is PhD. He completed his PhD, prestigious PhD from prestigious Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur, and he has also served in ordnance factory at Ambazari for about 7 to 8 years, and he was instrumental in developing uh, the missiles uh, for our defense and armed forces. So, and from past 10, 12 years, he has been in this teaching profession. So, such a distinguished personality. Uh, he is also having, he has handled various portfolios in his institute, and a dedicated session on blockchain technology today would be now begun with by Honorable Dr. Gode sir. So over to you. Well, before that, I welcome Gode sir on behalf of our institute and our organizing committee. It is very, very nice to have you on this platform. So over to you, Gode sir, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So much for introducing me. And it's probably after my PhD, this is my second or third, second lecture on blockchain technology. I hope I will convey my whatever information I have, I will convey to all the participants here. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity. Shall I start, sir? Is it visible?
Yes, yes. It is visible, sir.
So, very good afternoon, one and all. As this FDP entitled Industry 4.0 and the focus of this FDP is Industry 4.0. So how can Industry 4.0 training complete without blockchain? Because as you all know that Industry 4.0 when Industry 4.0 come to it is technology. It is a distributed technology. It is a distributed computing. It is a IoT. It is cloud computing and additive manufacturing. Along with all these technologies, so blockchain technology is also so. The blockchain technology will affect the today's scenario, today's supply chain or businesses that we will discuss in this. We'll brief. It is not possible to cover all the things in the 1.5 hour session, but I will try to convey the basics of blockchain technology, its adoption in business models, so that you will get a brief idea about the blockchain technology. So we know that we all are aware about the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first application of blockchain technology. We know what is Bitcoin, and if you go to the bitcoin.org, you will get a whole information of Bitcoin. We'll all know that it is cryptocurrency. Discussing whether we should legalize the Bitcoin or not. So, and they are planning, but they are in this financial year they are not legalize it Bitcoin, but hope so in future cryptocurrencies will be legalized in our country also. But in Western countries, most of the countries, the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, they are legalized, and there are so many cryptocurrencies are there. So in 2000.
Gode sir, you are not audible.
No.
Hello. Gode sir. Left झाले. शेअर झालाय त्यांचा. The screen is shared, Gode sir. त्यांचा mic off आहे. Sir, please unmute your mic, Gode sir. आलं. गडे सर, एक करता येईल का? एक करून पाहू शकतो आपण. तुमचा व्हिडिओ बंद केला तुमचा, आता थोडं प्रॉब्लेम सॉर्ट आउट होतो का पाहू. तुमचा जो व्हिडिओ आहे ना, स्क्रीन शेअर झालाय, अधून मधून तुमचा व्हिडिओ बंद करून जर ट्राय केला आपण. नाव प्लीज गो अहेड. करा सर, चालू करा.
ओके सर. So first time to first Satoshi Nakamoto published white paper named Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. In which the blockchain technology has been revealed, and people came to know. So what is the peer-to-peer transaction, what is blockchain technology, and it is transferred between the two parties or in network. So in the paper it is found that this is transaction between the two parties. There is no need of party for validation of the transaction. Also, it is found that Bitcoin is the most secure system ever established in the universe. Because in the universe हो सकते हैं या हम बोल सकते हैं अभी तक जो whatever system, this is the most secure system. Because many hackers try to hack this system, Bitcoin system, but nobody can nobody could hack it till date. So it is the most secure system. It is built on system. So first we will understand what is centralized system. In the centralized system, all the data of the organization is collected and stored at one place. But in distributed ledger system, if there are 4 to 5 departments in one organization, each department has whole data. Means the of the organization is there. It is it is distributed among all the departments. Means every node or every participant have the same ledger of the same ledger. So anybody in the or any department in the organization can access that data. So it is this is the basic principle behind distributed ledger. So we know that this is nothing but public ledger. हम public ledger कैसे बोल सकते हैं? Why it is called public ledger? Because network, business network, or in organization, all the entities, all the parties, this data have the database, means distributed database. So anybody, any public can have access to it, can answer the data, it can select data, but there is no update. But nobody can update or delete the data. It is the authority is given to someone in the distributed ledger system. And the one regulator is there, he can only update or delete data. There are digital contracts for transaction between the two parties. There is a peer-to-peer network. That means all the nodes in the network can communicate with each other. Like this, there are 5 nodes. All the nodes can communicate with each other. Then what it makes blockchain? ब्लॉकचेन में ऐसा क्या है जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लेजर में नहीं है? Data is there, data is distributed, but that data is encrypted in blockchain using programming. Any programming, can use any programming language. You can encrypt it, and after encryption, that data is saved in blocks, and then that blocks are connected with each other using hash. Hash is a string which contains numbers and alphabets. Hash is a string which contains numbers and alphabets, created using various algorithms. There are so many algorithms to create hash, like MD1, MD5, SHA-2, SHA-1, SHA-2, SHA-200, SHA-256. There are so many algorithms to create hash. So distributed system is nothing but a digitized, shared, immutable ledger. Immutable means it cannot be tampered. Once it is created, it cannot be tampered, cannot be hacked. That's why it is called immutable ledger. That facilitates the process of recording transactions and tracking the assets in a business network. Also, you can say that it is a secured record of historical transactions. All the transactions in the blockchain can be stored, and we can check its origin of any product. If the product is let's take an example of car. If we manufacture a car, if the manufacturing company manufactures a car, it travels to the distributor and then to the customer can track the whole data of car and its parts, from where these parts come. The origin of each and everything customer can track using the blockchain technology. So it is a secured record of historical transactions collected into blocks and chained in a chronological order and spread across a number of different servers to create a reliable provenance. Reliable provenance means finding the origin of the product or origin of entity. This is the basic structure of blockchain. This is the basic structure of blockchain. I have given some numbers 00, 001, 002. So 001 is the first block. Whenever there is a transaction, the first block is created, in which there is a timestamp, previous hash, and a transaction data. This first block is called as Genesis block. Because there is no previous hash. Only hash. The hash is created using the transaction data. Based on this transaction data, the hash can be created. In let's see block number 001. Here, previous hash of block 001 is nothing but a hash of the block 000. Means previous hash is the hash of previous block. Likewise, in block 002, previous hash is the hash of block 001. In this way, the chaining of the block can be done. In this way, the chaining of the block can be done, so that nobody, if anybody, any hacker tries to hack this blockchain, this data is encrypted, and again, all the blocks are in chain. If anybody try to tamper the data, a single digit, the whole hash will change and the chain can be broken. But it is not possible in this case because the data is distributed, data is shared. A hacker cannot hack all the nodes at a time. And for creating hash, there are so many algorithms. So many algorithms can be used. So it is very difficult to hash. That's why Bitcoin is the most secured system till now. It is most secured system. Here the blockchain architecture is there. Data from the database has been collected. And then there is data. Data contains sender's address, recipient address, or value of transactions. All this data is validated using consensus algorithm. Consensus algorithm is nothing but there are so many algorithms like proof of work, proof of stake, proof of authority, PBFT means practical Byzantine fault tolerance. There are the various algorithms. That algorithms, using that algorithm, this data is validated. Who validate data? Miners. The nodes. Miners are nothing but nodes or various people on the system. They are miners, and they mine that data. Means mining. Mining. The validation of data is nothing but mining. The process of validation of the transaction data is called as mining. After mining, after that block blockchain. In this way, blockchain is created. This is the blockchain that I have prepared. Here you can see this is the first block. Block one. There is no previous hash because it's the first block. Based on the transaction details, this is the transaction detail. Actually, it is encrypted, but to understanding, I've shown this transaction details. Using this transaction details, the current has been generated. Block 2, we can see this current has been hash is created using transaction details. Here is the previous hash. Previous hash is same as the current hash. Here we can see EAB6548. Likewise, the whole the previous hash of the block is same as the current hash of the block 1. Likewise, all the blocks are in chain using previous hash. We have also actually in my work I have created next hash chain, this blockchain using next hash also. The next hash block 2 is the current hash of the block 3. This is next hash. Likewise, I have done double chaining of this block. So this is the most secure blockchain that I have created. So we know what is the difference between, we already discussed about this. What is the difference between blockchain and distributed ledger technology? Both the blockchain and distributed ledger have a distributed database, but the data in the blockchain is encrypted using program. So and then the encrypted data is stored in a block, and then that blocks are appended in sequence in the block. But in distributed ledger, all that everybody has database, but it is in it is just data. It is not encrypted, so anybody can see that data. Anybody can update that data. But in blockchain, nobody can update or delete data. Once the block is created, no one can change the data, or no one can delete that block. Let's see how the transaction using blockchain is done. Let's say A and B are two person. Payment B. For the transferring the payment, once A initialized to transfer to payment B, block is created. And then that block is published to all the nodes. Then that transaction is published to all the nodes in the network. Then all the nodes in the network verify using consensus algorithm and whether that transaction is valid or not. Whether that person has this amount or whatever problems are there, the transactions are verified and confirmed by all the nodes. After confirmation, the block is created and then it is appended and added to the blockchain. After that, the money is transferred from person A to person B. Likewise, the transaction happens. Now let's take a second example. Here, there are five funds. First is manufacturer, second is dealer, third is leasing company, fourth is lessee, fifth is scrap merchant. Here, car is manufactured by car production has been done by the car manufacturer. Then it is supplied to the dealer. So whatever the information is there while manufacturing the car, it is stored in various blocks, and then it is appended in the blockchain, and that information is shared among all the parties. Here kitne party? 5 parties. In among all the parties, the data is shared about the manufacturing. Then the car is transferred to dealer. For transferring the car to the dealer, there is some contract, some agreements are there, some rules are set up. On that basis, once that rules are fulfilled, the car is transferred from manufacturer to dealer. Then the block is created. Again, that block is appended in the blockchain and shared using shared ledger. It is shared among all the stakeholders. Likewise, the transaction between dealer and leasing company, then lessee, and then scrap merchant happens. This whole life cycle of manufacture of the car can be stored in blockchain. So anybody at any point can check the history or the origin of car and its parts. In this way, so there are 5 basic principles of blockchain technology. The first is distributed database. As we already discussed, the database or in the blockchain is distributed among all the participants in the network, in the business network. Then there is a peer-to-peer communication. Means anybody can interact with anybody. Means in last example we have seen there is a manufacturing company, there is a dealer, leasing company, lessee. So lessee can directly communicate with manufacturer, or the whatever data manufacturer has, the lessee can see or verify that data using blockchain. So there is a peer-to-peer communication among all the participants. That's why there is a transparency in the system. Once the record is created, it cannot be deleted. So it is a irreversible irreversible database. Once the database is created, it cannot be reversed back. And for creating blockchain technology, computation logic is required. For that, there are so many platforms already developed, like Hyperledger, Ethereum, Microsoft Azure, so many. Also, we can use Python, C, C++, any Java. We can use any type of computation logic to develop blockchain. First characteristic of blockchain is consensus. Consensus is nothing but it is a validation of the transaction. That transaction is validated by all the participants which are in the network that validate transaction. So validation of transaction is nothing but a consensus. Then provenance means to find the origin of the product, from where that product is came, that asset came from, and how its ownership had changed over the time. कहाँ से कहाँ गया, from which entity to from manufacturer to dealer, ownership is changed, from dealer to leasing company, that dealer ownership is changed. So in this way, the ownership can be tracked. Immutability. No one can tamper, no one can hack this data once the data is recorded in the ledger. Finality. Once the block is created, it cannot be revoked, it cannot be reversed back, cannot be deleted. That block cannot be deleted. If somebody found that there is a problem or there is some issue in creating block, whatever data is enter block that is wrong, then also he cannot delete that data once a block is created. But for correcting the data, he can create a next block. In that next block, he can mention that the water data is in the last block is wrong, and this is the correct data that we have entered. So, but once the block is created, it is final. It cannot be distributed. Blockchain are distributed across and managed by peer-to-peer networks of computing device. Data among all participants of the blockchain network. So there is no need of disparate ledger. So first type of blockchain is permissionless blockchain, or we can say that public blockchain. Bitcoin is the best example of it. Anybody can join the Bitcoin network and have access of it. Anybody can create an address and can interact with each other. Means Bitcoin is the best example. But as it is a public ledger, there is no limit of participants. So data is huge. That's why while analyzing that, while accessing that data, every node requires a high level of computation power. High level of computation power. Second blockchain is second type of blockchain is permission or private blockchain. Here, it is most centralized approach. There are limitations of the participants. Let's take an example of that any business like as we already discussed, food manufacturing or any or rice production. Rice production means once the rice is produced by farmer, it is the raw rice is produced by the farmer, then it supplies to the rice mill. Rice mill is the second entity. First is the farmer, first node. Second is the rice mill owner. Third, then it supplies to the distributor, and then it supplies to the retailer. Means there are four nodes. So that blockchain, if we want to apply this blockchain in the rice production or rice supply chain, then there can be only 4 nodes. So in private blockchain, there are limitations of the as far as number of participants are concerned. That's why it requires very less transaction fees by establishing rules of transaction. बहुत कम खर्चा लगता है इसको, and it also requires very less computation power. There are also hybrid blockchain. It contains both permission as well as permissionless blockchain. If we consider in rice blockchain that we discussed, if we consider customer can be a public, any public. So any whoever the customer, he can access data. So there is permission for accessing the data for the customers. So it is this rice blockchain can be hybrid blockchain once the customers are included in the rice supply chain. So it also requires very less transaction fees. What is the difference between public and private blockchain? There is no need of it is a public blockchain is decentralized approach, while private is partially decentralized. There are some authority in the private blockchain. They can regulate the things, regulate the blockchain network. So it is partially decentralized. Then the participants can join the network without permission. While in private blockchain, all the participants are identified and trusted parties. Yeah. So public blockchain, in blockchain, anyone, anywhere in the world can read and write on the network. Data is validated by every participants or node in the network, making it very secure, very secure. Any node can validate data, and after that, close. So anybody in the network can access the data as well as data. So it is very secure. While in permission blockchain or private blockchain, the authority is given to the regulator or authority to the courts. They can only validate data. Permission to read and write data on the blockchain are controlled by a highly trusted organization. Manufacturer has is regulator, and he has
Hello.
sorry, actually मेरा connection हो गया था. Sorry,
Okay, sir. Okay.
I'm sharing again. Actually, I am in Sapkoli, and it's a tribal area. So these issues are common to us. There is some issue with my laptop.
तुम्ही 16व्या वर्षी
Just a minute, sir. Actually, इसका ये काम नहीं कर रहा पॉइंटर इज नॉट वर्किंग. Just a minute. Again, I'm sharing screen. It's okay. So challenge, it is very secure, and private blockchain is very efficient, very efficient, because there are limitations for data. So it is very efficient. The challenges is that it is inefficient because the transaction data is very high. So it is very high computation power is required. So it is very inefficient public blockchain, while private blockchain, as the regulators define. So the control power is considered to single organization, and that organization can misuse its power. And in this case, there may be many organizations on one platform to use the blockchain technology. So it is a big challenge for all. The application are public is cryptocurrency, Ethereum or Ethereum, Bitcoin. These are public cryptocurrencies. Then in production business network of single company. There are stages like industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. So stages of blockchain technology. In blockchain 1.0, blockchain is invented by Satoshi Nakamoto, and it is limited to financial transactions. Its example is Bitcoin. While in blockchain 2.0, it encompasses some privacy also. It incorporated in some contracts, so that that smart contract in smart contract, whatever the transactions that have some limitations, that once that condition is fulfilled, then only the transaction happens. So tokenized system is introduced. Because whoever is working in blockchain, and if he validate transaction, that node will get some rewards. tokens in terms of cryptocurrencies. So the best example is Ethereum. In 3.0, it covered decentralized apps, in which it is very flexible, decentralized storage, and it has greater scalability. Means any number of data can be stored. And also in this case, we
I think lost contact with Dr. Gode sir. So we'll be in touch.
sir. And now it is visible. So in blockchain 4.0,
The slide is visible.
now we can. Hello, audible? Am I audible? Is it visible now? Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is era of big artificial intelligence. So we can collaborate. Can we collaborate with data and AI? For that, various languages or various machine learning, deep learning can be used, so that data can be known that data, big data and AI in combination with blockchain can create it, so that we get security, and we can cope up with the today's transactions.
नेटवर्क थोडासा प्रॉब्लेम आहे.
आवाज ब्रेक होता है सर. आवाज ब्रेक होता है जरा.
हा सर, आता दिसत आहे का?
होत नाहीये, फक्त शेअरिंग असं दिसतंय सर.
आवाज नाही आहे?
दिसतंय सर, आता क्लिअर आहे, आता दिसतंय. दिसतंय सर, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही.
There are basically two Hyperledger itself a different itself a company which developed its platform named Ethereum. Uh, Basically, the Hyperledger is made for B2B transaction, business to business transaction, while Ethereum is for B2B as well as B2C transaction, business to customer transaction. So it is more generalized than Hyperledger. As confidentiality is concerned, the Hyperledger
नेटवर्क मध्ये थोडा प्रॉब्लेम येत आहे. गोडे सर, सर तुमची पॉवर
हा, सर.
प्रेझेंटेशन मला शेअर कराल का? मी इथून शेअर करतो, कारण तिकडून थोडा नेटवर्कचा प्रॉब्लेम दिसतोय. मला जर तुम्ही व्हॉट्सअपवर पाठवले तर मी इकडून शेअर करेल सर लगेच.
एक मिनिट सर.
हा प्लीज सर.
एक मिनिट मी ट्राय करतो एकदा आणि मग तुम्हाला आता होतंय का सर शेअर?
सर होईल, शेअरिंग दाखवत आहे.
मी तुम्हाला पाठवून देतो.
हा सर प्लीज.
पुन्हा आता
Due to some technical problem, please bear with us. I will share Odysseus presentation within a while. Thank you.
हा सर शेअर केलाय मी. शेअर करायला पण खूप वेळ घेत आहे.
हॅलो सर.
शेअर करायला मी 1 मिनिट चालू करतो माझ्याकडनं. शेअर करायला खूप वेळ घेत आहे. I'm sharing it, but
Due to some technical problem, our session is paused here. Please, again, we'll return back within a moment.
sorry sir, sorry issue.
No problem, sir. Technical, we cannot do anything for this technical issues, sir. No problem. You can share to me, sir. You can send.
Now
it
I am
to me.
sharing.
Have you sent to me, sir?
That's a problem.
Sir, is it okay now?
Yes, sir. It is visible now. You can continue, sir. It is visible. Okay, sir. Thank you. Continue.
Okay. So there are two types of blockchain platform, Hyperledger, and two types. There are so many blockchain platforms. We are discussing only two here: Hyperledger and Ethereum. Ethereum is basically for B2B transaction, and Ethereum is for B2B as well as B2C transaction, while Hyperledger is for B2B business transactions. Confidentiality is as far as confidentiality is concerned. Hyperledger is very confidential because we here various business organizations are using it and they don't want to disclose their data to others, their competitors. So the Hyperledger platform is preferred by the various businesses, while Ethereum is more public and transparent platform. In private, Hyperledger is private and permission platform, while Ethereum is more public and less private platform. Consensus algorithm is concerned, there is no mining required in Hyperledger because there is some authority is given and that authority can validate the transactions. While in Ethereum, the algorithm proof of stake, proof of authority can be used to validate transaction. As far as programming language concerned, Hyperledger is based on the chain code and Java, while Ethereum is based on the is written in Solidity. Cryptocurrencies, there is no built-in cryptocurrencies for Hyperledger, while Ethereum, the cryptocurrency is used that is known as Ether. Ether is the cryptocurrency. Here we will discuss some little bit about smart contract. Smart contract is a whatever contract. हम जब contract करते हैं while giving our home on rent or while purchasing the home or while doing any transaction with banks, we are signing some agreements or contracts. There are some terms and conditions also. So that terms and conditions can be written can be digitized using programming. So whenever there is a transaction between two parties, there are some agreements or some terms and condition. Once then term and condition fulfilled, the execution happens and the transaction can be done, and then it is stored. It can be stored in the blockchain. So smart contract is an agreement or set of rules, terms and conditions that governs the business transactions. It is stored on the blockchain and it is executed automatically as a part of transaction. Once the transaction, once the terms and conditions get fulfilled, automatically transaction happens. Like if some material coming through cargo from any country, let's say Sri Lanka to India, some material is coming. But once that material is reached to India, that material is tracked using GPS, and that location of that material is stored. So the Indian company will also Indian company can also monitor that. But once that whatever the material is there in that cargo, once that material enter in that company verifies that material reached it and reached to it, that location will trigger there in the smart contract. And then that smart contract check whether that fulfill the condition or not, and the payment is released automatically to the supplier company. So there is no need for documentation, and there is no need of any time consuming activity for transferring money from one party to another party for purchasing or for transferring material or any other entity. So smart contract may be the most transformative blockchain application at moment. This automatic payment and the transfer of currency or the any other asset as negotiated conditions are met. So for example, this already we discussed. This is the example that smart contract might send a payment to supplier as soon as the shipment is delivered. The firm could signal via blockchain that a particular good has been received, or the product could have GPS functionality, which would be automatically logged to the location updates that in turn trigger a payment. Once that shipment reach to a particular location, it triggers and transferred. So a tremendous degree of coordination and clarity on how smart contracts are designed, verified, and implemented and enforced will be required. So there should be a proper clarity. There should be a proper logic for creating smart contracts. So now we are moving from blockchain to supply chain. How the blockchain supply chain can adopt a blockchain. Supply chain can adopt blockchain. Basically, supply chain, what happens? There is a supply of product from source to destination. There is a transfer of product. There is a transfer of information. There is a transfer of money. Information flows in both direction, downstream as well as upstream. While product is moving from upstream to upstream, while money is flowing towards the upstream in opposite direction. So there is a flow of material, money, and information in the supply chain. In the traditional supply chain, there are some issues like imperfect information, inaccessible information, information risk. Also, there is a cost of transaction is also very high degree of separation. Means there is data, there is no information. That's why data is not getting at time. There is institution is inertia, means government body involvement is there. There are so many rules and regulations to restrict that transaction. So also there are so many invisible threats like hacking of data, and so many threats are there. So there is a less transparency in the traditional database. There is a less traceability. Nobody can trace. Then there is it is prone to hack. Then there is a latency in information. Whatever information is getting to the people, it is very, very late, not real time. So there is delay in payment and legal processes are there. Also, there is a non-value added activities that can be avoided in the supply chain. So so the solution for that is blockchain technology. because it holds the promise to eliminate or at least significantly reducing these frictions. Whatever the problems in the traditional supply chain are there, that problem can be eliminated or reduced in an effective manner by using blockchain technology. Like in blockchain technology, there is shared ledger, cryptography, and consensus algorithms. So peer-to-peer network is there, transaction is there. So it can regularize the transaction, eliminate the cost, earn the trust of the people who are working in the supply chain. For that, for that 3D framework is there, which gives the path how the blockchain technology can be adopted in the supply chain and how the supply chain performance can be improved using blockchain technology. First is discover, in which in which identify the issues in the supply chain. In which there is a confidentiality and trust issues. Then there is inability to share information, limitations of IT system, lack of data standards. That the issues or various problems have to be identified, whether they are in the present system or not. Then set a objective. So which parameter which we have to improve. So set objective to improve the supply chain information flow. In which there is an improvement of supply chain, then establish the trust with security. These are the objectives of the supply chain. Then design and develop a process of blockchain, processes with the blockchain. Then design integrate the supply chain with blockchain, so that you will get a permission-based blockchain there. Then architecture of blockchain network we have to design, and the smart contracts are there. When we integrate blockchain technology with supply chain, we'll improve the supply chain performance enormously. But while implementing the blockchain technology in supply chain, there are some challenges. Like first is organization challenge. First, organization factors are there, in which there are internal trust. Internal trust. Let's take an example of any industry, any food industry, we can say that, or any automobile industry. This is the basic. In automobile industry, there are hundreds of in automobile there are hundreds of suppliers and producers are there, because let's take an example of car has thousands of parts. So there are thousands of suppliers of various parts. The raw material is required, various parts manufacturers are there, then it comes to the main manufacturer and then assemble it, and then it's whole car is supplied to the distributor and then dealer and then to the customer. So this is a very, very complex supply chain. So there are hundreds of businessmen or businesses involved in one in a network, in the car supply chain network. So it is very difficult to earn a trust, international trust, or build an international trust among all the participants of the supply chain. So it is a very big challenge to overcome the mistrustfulness between the business partners in the supply chain network. So second is the relational governance. Relational governance means setting up the rules to achieve the cooperation of all the partners in the supply chain. There is need to develop some rules and regulations, so that all parties should agree and come on to one platform to adopt blockchain technology in their organization. And technology factors are there, like data transparency. No business wants to share his data with the other business partners, because he has some issues. He has a threat that he can, the other businessman can take his data and establish their business. So there is a competition in the market. So nobody wants to share his data. So data transparency is also threat to all the organizations. So there should be a balance between the transparency and confidentiality of the data. For that, proper coding has to be developed, proper logic has to be developed, So it is a very challenge to maintain a balance between transparency and confidential data in the supply chain. Then the data immutability is there. Data immutability means the system should be such that it cannot be hacked. So to restore or collect data in case of wrong entry or that happens due to unexpected events and to avoid the hacking. It is a very big challenge to develop such system in which the hackers cannot tamper the data. So it is also a big challenge to develop the immutable system. Then interoperability means sharing of information of manufacturers, suppliers, and vendors that keeps in a secret account. It is a very big challenge ahead adoption of blockchain technology in supply chain. Then product type. Product type should be selected such that it can recover the investment in blockchain as early as possible. So selection of product for adoption of blockchain technology is also a big challenge. Then some social factors are there, in which the first is the social influence. Whenever there is a change, it is very difficult for society or people in the society to adopt that changes. So it will take time. It is a challenge to provide provenance, means origin of the product or history of the product to all the people. So for that, socially responsible production method has to be developed, and so that the whole data or origin of the product can be provided to the people living in the society. Also, behavioral intention. In the supply chain, various people are working. So they have to adopt that blockchain technology. So all the stakeholders have to be trained for changing their behavioral intention to adopt the blockchain technology in the supply chain. So these are 8 challenges that have been identified from the various research papers. And of course, when these challenges are overcome, then only the adoption of blockchain technology can be possible in any business. For that, the framework is developed. From this framework, we can see that there are adoption challenges, and this adoption challenge that we already discussed, these adoption challenges can be overcome using blockchain technology. How? The blockchain technology has shared ledger, smart contract, and consensus algorithms. So here you can say that transparency, data transparency, let's take a data transparency. Transparency can be overcome using shared ledger and a smart contract. So shared ledger means all data is shared among all the participants in the network, in the business network. While using smart contract, we can put some agreements there that certain participant has certain amount of data accessible to certain amount of data. So that these conditions can be put in using coding, so that confidentiality of some data can be done, can happen there. So confidentiality, there should the balance between the confidentiality and transparency can be maintained using these blockchain components. Here you can see the data, the transaction data between manufacturer, distributor, retailer, and customer is gathered in the system, and then it is integrated with blockchain components, and then using some devices, it is the customer and all the stakeholders can see the whatever transaction happens. It is published to all the stakeholders, and they can see the transaction using blockchain technology. Also, they can check the origin of the product, status of the product by blockchain technology. So ultimately, the supply chain performance can be improved while providing transparency in transaction, traceability of the products, security of the data, then latency in information is improved, and the time elapsed in the payment system can be improved. Here, the 7 to 8 steps. In which transaction in supply chain using blockchain technology is understood. The order is placed by the distributor, accordingly the product is manufactured by the manufacturer. Then the consignment of the product is sent to the distributor. Then after that, it supplies to the retailer. All these transactions are stored in a shared ledger, on the distributed ledger or shared ledger. For that, smart contract is used, so that whenever there is a transaction between the two parties, the smart contract is used, in which the quantity and rate of the product are verified. Then only after verification only the product is transferred, or the ownership of product is transferred from one party to another party. And the transaction is completed. The complete transaction information flows from each member of the supply chain, and this allows all business party to reflect the exactly same data of transaction throughout the network. These things we already discussed so many times. So there is a physical flow, information flow in the system. At supplier, whenever there is a transaction, the block is created. Next, the supply material is carried from supplier to manufacturer. That information also recorded in the blocks and then is appended in the blockchain. Like then manufacturer manufacture the product, and the information about the manufacturing that component or product is blockchain and then is appended. Likewise, the information at logistics and distributor and the customer is stored in the blocks and it is appended in the blockchain. And for happening all these transactions, the smart contracts are there, in which there are some terms and conditions like matching the order, invoices, shipments, quality checking, and then payment to the suppliers. So these are the various conditions has to be fulfilled, then only the transaction happens. So potential of blockchain technology is to provide a secure transaction of data in distributed manner. There is no need of third-party verification, so that the improvement in the transaction, it increases the trust of all the stakeholders, and hence it enhances the performance of the supply chain. Here, this is the one figure which shows that the manufacturer, distributor, and retailer are there, and everybody has the same amount, same data. Using blockchain technology, we can share all the data amongst all the stakeholders. This is this is the example of Walmart. Walmart is the first company in the world which adapted blockchain technology. A retail company. This is the first retail company which adopted blockchain in the food supply chain. In Walmart, what happens when Walmart gives the order to the farm? The quality of the food is checked and it is stored in the block. Then it comes. The product is the food is arrived to packing house. The quality of packing is also checked, and that information is stored in a block. Then using transportation, that packed food is transferred, and during that also which type of transportation is used, where it is reached, all the information is stored in the blocks, and then it is appended in the blockchain. Then during border crossing also, whatever happens, whatever conditions are there, that has to be fulfilled, and after after crossing the border, that information is stored in the blockchain. Then processing of that product is done. While processing, whatever the conditions are, like the method of processing, whatever conditions like temperature, humidity, what are the conditions are there, that has been checked, and that information is also stored in the blockchain. Then it arrives to the distributor. Then it arrives to the Walmart outlet. So in outlet, all the information from origin of product to outlet, all the information is stored in the blocks of the blockchain. When the customer purchases that product, by using a barcode, he can check from where that product came, what was the condition of blockchain, that product at particular place, how the parameters have been maintained during traveling or logistics, that all the information is stored in a blockchain, and that using the data, using app, he can check all the information of the about the product. So blockchain using in Walmart, IBM developed is blockchain in Walmart, and he implemented that blockchain in the food supply chain. Now various companies in worldwide try to copy this so benchmark has been provided by the Walmart, and now various industry or various retail food supply chains try to implement this blockchain technology in the supply chain. So that we already discussed. IBM Food Trust. IBM Food Trust uses the blockchain solution to build transparency of supply chain from farmer, processor, retailer to the. Then Walmart created food supply chain traceability system. FedEx is a cargo shipping company. He uses blockchain for testing the flow of the shipment. The Mediledger project is launched in 2017. So in this project, the group of pharmaceutical manufacturers and wholesalers are getting together so that it can explore the potential of blockchain to meet Drug Supply Chain Security Act requirement for tracking and tracing of the US drugs. So then this project is expected to complete by 2013. So in US, all the pharmaceutical companies are trying to use this blockchain for tracing their drugs. Philippines Food and Drugs Administration uses the blockchain technology for detecting falsified and substandard drugs in distribution. So there may be some adulteration in drugs. So these drugs or adulterated drugs or falsified data can be captured using blockchain technology or can be detected using blockchain technology. In India, why there is need of blockchain technology in India? There are so many financial crises and fraud activity in blockchain. We are now just now one fraud in SBI has been detected. There are so many frauds in financial frauds in India, like Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi, and Maल्या, and so many people flown away by taking our money, hard work money. So these are the financial crisis and fraud activities happening. There is a urgent need to adopt blockchain technology in financial sector so that these frauds can be minimized. Because once the transaction is done, or once we take some loan or do the financial transaction with a bank, that is stored in a blockchain, and that data is distributed among all the financial institutions. So anybody can see the what type of transaction has been done by certain people. That can be monitored. So, and that cannot be tampered. That's because nowadays also everything is financial transactions are visible to all the institutions, but that can be manipulated also. So, but once we use the blockchain technology, it cannot be manipulated. And food supply chain management is the big, because in India, some area have ample amount of excess amount of food, and at some area there is no food. There is various prices of foods. People are hungry and they are not getting any type of food. So food distribution should be proper. So there is need to there is need of proper distribution of food throughout in country. So in that case also blockchain technology can be used. Licensing disputes in the music industry, film industry. So in this case, there are so many quarrels That he has some singer says that that was my composition, some composition. He stolen my composition. There are so many we already uh, seen that chorus. So that licensing disputes can in the industry can be avoided. Transparency in the food in India can be done. So in that way, India started implementing blockchain technology in various areas. All telecommunication companies in India have been instructed by Telecom Regulatory Authority of India to adopt blockchain technology to reduce phone spamming. Anybody make a fraud or hack a phone or their spamming can be done. So using blockchain technology, the spamming can be phone spamming can be reduced. In Kerala, there is one Kerala is very advanced and as far as technology is concerned. So one conference Dubai in Dubai World Trade Center had some conference. In that Kerala's startup mission, under which there are 18 startups which are based on the blockchain technology have been and they represented India in Dubai World Trade Center. So it is a big achievement and Kerala started working on the blockchain technology. Then in lots of companies like Alliance Global and Tata Consultancy have already established their development centers in Thiruvananthapuram. Big companies like Ernst Young and DLT Ledger who already have presence in Kerala and looking to grow and expand. Then Tech Mahindra, Netherlands-based blockchain application incubator company, have entered into collaboration. They seek to provide BaaS as a service to facilitate easy and secure payments. Maharashtra will use the blockchain solutions to provide COVID-19 certificates. COVID-19 certificate, Maharashtra will use the blockchain solutions. Again, in Chhattisgarh and some governments are working on various use cases like land registry, court cases, and these are all maintained in blockchain. Can we think that if all the land registry is the history of land is recorded in the blocks, so the land disputes can be minimized enormously? Can we minimize enormously? Because various times we found that there are so many frauds in land, so that such frauds can be minimized using blockchain technology. In insurance company also, insurance company, the various contracts are there, so that can be digitized so that various claims can be settled within time. Government leveraged blockchain technology in the area of identity management, that registration of land titles, etc. So government is already started working in this area. In India, T board of India, through an expression of interest (EOI), made clear its intention to adopting end-to-end technology to promote transparency and improve the traceability of the product and trade the operation. In the food, we already said that in the food or in case of this tea, there may be adulteration of the product. So end customer will not get pure product which have been supplied by the producer or farmer. There in between there may be adulteration of food and you will not get a proper food. So this blockchain technology can help to reduce this adulteration and will try to improve the quality of food which we get from the supplier. In the concluding remark, we can see that there is a strong possibility that blockchain will affect the businesses. Supply chain management has entered the big data era. The blockchain technology has emerged as a disruptive technology because it has the capability to provide transparency, traceability, immutability, so that it can improve or enhance the performance of supply chain. It is commonly believed that blockchain has a huge potential to transform supply chains. both in global as well as in local, by improving operation efficiency, data management, responsiveness, transparency, and smart contract management. Blockchain can act as a source of competitive advantage for companies, government, and all kinds of organizations in the society. Investments are being made by different companies and countries in exploring the new applications with blockchain to achieve higher operation efficiency. Tangible assets like house, car, cash, land, or intangible assets like intellectual property act, patent, copyrights, branding, all this can be recorded in blockchain. And then no one can say that he copied my composition and he had taken that my land. So blockchain technology is very useful technology in this case. Virtually anything of value can be tracked and traded on blockchain network. It reduces the risk and also cuts the cost for all involved. So this is all about the blockchain technology. Thank you so much for patience listening, and sorry for interruption from my side due to poor network. If anybody have some doubts or questions, you can ask me. Can have a discussion. So
Thank you, Gode sir. Thank you very much for your studied presentation of blockchain technology, a very emerging area. I hope you can hear me, Gode sir.
yes, sir. Got you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And it is very nice to, or may I inform our participants that Dr. Gode sir is working as a senior lecturer at Government Polytechnic Sakoli, which is in Bhandara district. In spite of being a remote place, he has progressed a lot and completed his PhD from MNIT recently. And today, anybody having a focused query as far as blockchain technology and supply chain, please feel free to ask. कोणाला विचारायचं असेल तर विचारा.
घोडे सर.
Gode sir.
Gode
Anand
sir.
Pawar sir. Let me welcome you, Anand Pawar sir. We are very happy to be here.
सर मी डॉक्टर आनंद पवार, मी हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट आहे मेकॅनिकल औरंगाबादला, जीपी औरंगाबादला.
सर नमस्कार सर.
हा सर नमस्कार. सर मला एक दोन इश्यू होत्या विचारायच्या होत्या, एक डाऊट्स होता. आपण सर ते अमेझॉन वर जे आपण जे ऑर्डर देतो आणि आपल्याला ट्रॅक करता येते त्या याच्यावर ऍपवर, किंवा असे बरेचसे ऍप आहेत जसे 1MG आहे, किंवा मग आपल्या पोस्टाच्या जे आपण पार्सल पाठवतो तेही ट्रॅक करू शकतो. ती कुठली टेक्नॉलॉजी आहे सर?
सर याच्यामध्ये आता ब्लॉक ही नॉर्मल ही आहे, म्हणजे दिस इज अ डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड सिस्टीम. तो याच्यामध्ये ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नॉलॉजी आता अडॉप्ट नाही केलेली आहे, बट कंपनीज आर अडॉप्टिंग ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नॉलॉजी नाउ. So this is the any type of distributed technology is used there.
पण आपण अमेझॉन वर सर ट्रेस करतो आणि ते बरोबर आपल्याला डिलिव्हर झालं ते पण आपल्याला आपल्या याच्यावर.
हो सर. पण याच्यामध्ये एक इश्यू येऊ शकतो याच्यामध्ये. द प्रॉब्लेम इज दॅट that data can be tampered. If anybody want to hack that data, that can be hacked. There are some security. They have some. They already implemented some security there to their data, but that can be hacked. So आपल्याला जेव्हा प्रॉडक्ट बरोबर मिळतं तोपर्यंत काही इश्यू नाही आहे आणि डाटा पण टॅम्पर्ड होत नाही. दॅट्स गुड अँड दॅट इज रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ कंपनी. बट ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नॉलॉजी जर त्यांनी इम्प्लिमेंट केली तर हा डाटा म्हणजे सिक्युरिटी जास्त चांगली राहील आणि डाटा जो हॅक होतो कुठल्या कंपनीचा तो होणार नाही. कारण की आपल्या याच्यामध्ये जे अमेझॉन वगैरे कंपन्या आहे दॅट इज लिमिटेड टू पर्टिक्युलर प्रॉडक्ट. वन्स द प्रॉडक्ट इज डिलिव्हर्ड and after some time that data can be vanish, किंवा ते डाटा हे करू शकतात तर आफ्टर युजिंग दॅट प्रॉडक्ट. बट जर असं काही झालं की मध्ये जर कोणी त्याचा हॅक करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला तर ती डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड टेक्नॉलॉजी पण कामात येणार नाही. त्यासाठी ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नॉलॉजी जर वापरलं तर ती नक्कीच चांगले रिझल्ट देऊ शकेल आणि डाटा सिक्युअर राहू शकेल, व्हॉट एव्हर इट इज. Exact त्यांनी आता कुठली टेक्नॉलॉजी युज केली, पण मला जी वाटते ती डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड टेक्नॉलॉजी युज केली आहे त्यांनी. कुठली तरी
Supply chain
डिस्ट्रीब्युटेड,
मध्ये.
हा सप्लाय चेन, त्यांच्या सप्लाय चेन मध्ये जी काही केली.
पण सर हे ब्लॉकचेन स्पेशली बँकिंग साठी जास्त युजफुल आहे ना सर?
कशासाठी
बँकिंग सेक्टर.
सर इनिशियल ऍप्लिकेशन जी आहे, जी बिटकॉइन जी आहे, ही फायनान्शियल ऍप्लिकेशनच आहे आणि बँकिंग सेक्टरसाठी खूप जास्त युजफुल आहे. म्हणजे पण नाऊ दॅट अपार्ट फ्रॉम फायनान्शियल, हे सप्लाय चेन मध्ये किंवा इव्हन प्रोडक्शन मध्ये किंवा प्रत्येक ऍक्टिव्हिटी मध्ये ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नॉलॉजी आता युज करण्याचा प्रयत्न करत आहे व्हेरियस इंडस्ट्री, आणि याच्यावर खूप रिसर्च चालू आहे वर्ल्ड वाईड. There are so many blockchain institutes आणि रिसर्च institutes are there वर्ल्ड वाईड. ऑस्ट्रेलियामध्ये पण त्यांनी एक चांगली, ऑस्ट्रियामध्ये किंवा एक मोठी ब्लॉकचेन इन्स्टिट्यूट आहे and they are dedicated, they are doing various research on this. So सप्लाय चेन मध्ये बेसिकली फोकस सप्लाय चेनच आहे, कारण की कोविड मध्ये जे प्रॉब्लेम झालेले आहे सप्लाय चेनचे, म्हणजे पूर्ण व्हेरियस प्रोडक्टची जी सप्लाय चेन आहे that has been disrupted and supply of product was not proper during the COVID situation. So in such situations, blockchain technology can be used for proper distribution of the product where the products are there, and so there are so many research going on apart from the financial. Yes, financial sector मध्ये तर गरजेचं आहेच, आणि the first application of blockchain technology is financial sector only. So मला जो डाटा आहे मला माहिती आहे त्यानुसार जो काय 100% रिसर्च चालू असेल त्याच्यापैकी 70% जो आहे किंवा 100% इम्प्लिमेंटेशन झालेलं आहे, त्यापैकी लगभग 70% इम्प्लिमेंटेशन हे फायनान्शियल सेक्टर मध्ये झालेलं आहे, आणि बाकी जो 30% आहे अदर सेक्टर्स आता इम्प्लिमेंट करायचा प्रयत्न करत आहे.
ओके. हिवराळे सर.
हो सर, हो सर.
हा, आपल्याला 3:30 वाजता दुसरं सेशन सुरू करायचं आहे.
हो सर, माझे दोनच प्रश्न आहे, पिन पॉइंटेड आहेत, बिटकॉइनचे रिलेटेडच आहेत. तर घोडे सर, मी औरंगाबादवरून बोलतो. पहिला प्रश्न असा आहे की हे तुम्ही जे बिटकॉइन जे सांगितलं, तर त्याच्यामध्ये बिटकॉइन पर्टिक्युलरली मध्ये जो काही म्हणजे रेग्युलेटर आहे तो पब्लिक आहे किंवा प्रायव्हेट आहे, नंबर 1. आणि जर प्रायव्हेट किंवा पब्लिक असेल तर याच्यातला मोस्ट ट्रस्टेड रेग्युलेटर सध्या कोण आहे बिटकॉइन मधला? आणि नंबर 3 जो काही रेग्युलेटर असतो, समजा आता आजचे मी न्यूजपेपर जे वाचलं, रशिया युक्रेन मध्ये जे काही युद्ध चालू आहे, तर त्याच्यामध्ये असं आलं की रशिया बिटकॉइनचा पैसा वापरणार आहे, आणि असा रेग्युलेटर जर का समजा युक्रेन मध्ये असतात एखाद्या बिटकॉइनचा, आणि त्यांनी ते सगळं मॅनिप्युलेट केलं असतं, तर अशी पॉसिबिलिटी होऊ शकते का? तर याचं प्लीज आन्सर करा.
सर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बिटकॉइन ही पब्लिक लेजर आहे, पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन आहे, त्यामुळे इथे कुठलाही रेग्युलेटर हा ट्रस्टेड नाहीये, किंवा आपण त्याला म्हणू शकतो की हा रेग्युलेटर आहे. सॉरी, म्हणजे देयर इज नो रेग्युलेटर इन द बिटकॉइन. पहिला प्रश्नाचं उत्तर म्हणजे तिथे कोणत्याही तसा एक प्रॉपर रेग्युलेटर नाहीये. ऑल नोड्स आर सेम, सगळे जे आहे सगळे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हे सेम आहे. नंतर काय म्हटलं तुम्ही?
मोस्ट ट्रस्टेड.
सर, याच्यामध्ये कोणीही ट्रस्टेड नाहीये. याच्यामध्ये जे काही रेग्युलेटर आहे हे सेम इक्वली ट्रीट होतात आहे, तिथे कोणीच रेग्युलेटर हा ट्रस्टेड नाहीये. हा, याच्यामध्ये एक आहे बिटकॉइन मध्ये की जेव्हा मायनिंग होते याची, म्हणजे ट्रान्झॅक्शन होतं त्यावेळेला मायनिंग करतात, आणि मायनिंग करते वेळी ज्याच्याकडे हाय कॉम्प्युटेशन पॉवर आहे तो अल्गोरिदम जो असतो मायनिंग करते वेळी तो सॉल्व्ह करतो फास्ट, कारण की डाटा खूप जास्त असतो. ज्याची हाय कॉम्प्युटेशन पॉवर आहे तो फास्ट करतो, आणि तो त्याच्या थ्रू पैसा जनरेट करतो फास्ट. म्हणजे मायनिंग केल्यानंतर जो सर्वात पहिले मायनिंग करेल आणि तो अल्गोरिदम सॉल्व्ह करेल त्याला बिटकॉइन मिळतात, आणि तो अर्न करतो मनी, आणि त्याचं जी ऍसेट्स वाढत जाते. तर त्याला प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक्स पण एक अल्गोरिदम लागतं, एक प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क आहे. प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क मध्ये जो लवकर करतो त्याला जास्त पैसे बेनिफिट्स असतात, म्हणजे बिटकॉइन्स त्याला मिळतात. त्यामुळे याच्यामध्ये असं काही ट्रस्टेड कोणीच नसतं, पण जो काम जास्त करतो त्याला पैसा जास्त मिळतो. ही बिटकॉइनचा फंडा आहे, बेसिक फंडा. आता तुम्ही काय म्हटलं?
With this, considering the time crunch, I think I'm afraid. Hivrali sir, considering the time crunch and since our participants would also require a half an hour gap, so I would like to end the session over here. Hivrali sir, please bear with us. आपल्याला अर्ध्या तासातच, कारण इतर पार्टिसिपंट्स नाही, थोडंसं आपल्याला एक अर्धा तास तुम्हा लोकांनाही वेळ मिळावा यासाठी, आणि डॉक्टर ज्योतिराव आपलं पुढचं सेशन सुरू करणार आहेत. तर
थँक्यू सर.
प्लीज. ओके ओके. हा, आपला म्हणजे थोडा सगळ्यांनाच वेळ मिळेल, कारण कंटिन्युअसली चालू असल्यामुळे. सो
सर मग याच्यामध्ये काय माहितीये का, ट्रेनिंग म्हणजे न केलेलं परवडतं मग ते.
हा तुम्ही सोडून जाऊ शकता.
नाही वाय आय शुड, म्हणजे IST is sponsored.
See, listen, Mr. Hivrale, we have some time crunch. Okay, if you go on asking your questions, it is not possible for us. Okay, तुम्हाला रोजच संधी देतोय सर. त्यांचा ऑन करा माईक. हिवराळे सर बोला, विचारा शेवटचा.
सर मी काय म्हणतोय, समजा
विचारा, प्लीज गो अहेड. या ओके.
नाही इतकी चांगली आपण ट्रेनिंग करतोय सर, आता काही प्रश्न येतात तर ते आपण क्लिअर करायला पाहिजे. आम्हाला शिकवण्यासाठीच ट्रेनिंग आहे ना ही.
बरं विचारा. ओके विचारा.
सर तुमचा जो शेवटचा प्रश्न होता की युक्रेन आणि रशियाचं जे युद्ध चालू आहे त्यामध्ये रशिया बिटकॉइन क्रिप्टोकरन्सी किंवा बिटकॉइन युज करेल. हो, ते करू शकतात. कारण त्याला कुठलीही लिमिट नाही, कुठल्या देशाचा कन्स्ट्रेंट नाहीये. दे कॅन यूज बिटकॉइन एनीवेअर एनी टाइम. आणि याच्यासाठी रेग्युलेटर असं कोणीच नसतं. पण रशिया कॅन डेव्हलप इट्स कॉम्प्युटेशन पॉवर, हाय कॉम्प्युटेशन पॉवर, सो दॅट दे कॅन अर्न बिटकॉइन and they can use that bitcoin to purchase the things from in worldwide. तर ते त्यांच्यामध्ये त्यांची कॉम्प्युटेशन पॉवर वाढवेल, त्यामुळे ते खूप अर्न करेल बिटकॉइन किंवा क्रिप्टोकरन्सीज, और दे कॅन क्रिएट देअर ओन क्रिप्टोकरन्सी ऑल्सो. म्हणजे जशी बिटकॉइन जी तयार केली ही सतोशी नाकामोटोने, ती कोणी केली, कोणत्या देशात केली, काय केली, कोणालाही माहित नाहीये. तसंच रशिया पण आपली स्वतःची क्रिप्टोकरन्सी तयार करू शकते आणि त्याद्वारे आपला व्यापार करू शकते. सो मला तरी वाटते की हे पॉसिबल आहे. रशिया यूज करू शकतो क्रिप्टोकरन्सी फ्युचरमध्ये, जर त्याला बॅन केलं बाकी देशांनी तर.
ओके, एनी मोर क्वेरी? सी, माय होल पर्पज इज you have observed. Thank you, Dr. Dhaneshwar Gode, and thank you, Umesh Hivrale sir. I hope Hivrale sir झालं का अजून? फक्त उद्देश लक्षात घ्या. हिवराळे सर कुठे? हिवराळे सर आहेत का? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Anand Pawar sir also.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. The thing is, when we start the session, we have to wait for the participants. We have to wait for the participants. They do not join on time. This is a big problem in all these online programs. And if we keep on asking questions, that becomes somewhat prolonged session, and later on when we request our participants to start the session, to join the session, we have to wait, and our valuable resource person also has to, we have to keep him waiting. So that does not give a good message. म्हणून आपण कुठेतरी आपल्याला एक थोडंसं AICTE आपल्याला हे दिलंय, सगळं मान्य आहे, परंतु या ऑनलाईन याच्या मर्यादा लक्षात घेऊन आपल्याला सगळ्यांनी, या. So I express gratitude towards Dr. Dhaneshwar Gode for sparing his valuable time and presenting an excellent perspective on blockchain technology. So with these words and with the permission of Gode sir, we will let us end this session here now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me opportunity to present my information, whatever information I have.
Thank you, Gode sir.
Thanks a lot, sir.